Hello, everyone. Hello. How are you doing? It's Friday night. It's 6 o'clock. Welcome to Friday Night Live Dive. I'm your host, Christelle. As you can see, we've got the mood lighting, the underneath the water vibe going. Just to start out, as you guys are coming in, please say hi. Everybody, as you come in, say hello and let us know what you're celebrating. I'm your host, Christelle, and today I have a very wonderful, special guest. Okay, I'm going to turn the lights on now. My wonderful friend of 20 plus years and amazing elite massage therapist in Toronto, Canada, Cynthia Castro.
Hi.
I'm so happy to have
Hey,
you.
everybody. We just came from the Bahamas.
We have just come in from the Bahamas, and I'm really sad that I feel like you can't really see my tan.
Oh, I can feel my tan.
You can feel it? No, my nose is like peeling this morning. We're actually tanned, I swear. I am. Maybe when I turn the lights off and we turn the lights like up normally, you'll see it. I'm going to set the mood a little bit more as people come in and say hi. But yes, we just flew in from the Bahamas for our friend's beautiful wedding. It was amazing. Did you have a good time?
I had a great time. It was great. A little expensive, but it was good.
Oh my gosh. Has anyone been to the Bahamas? Like, did you guys know that it was that crazy expensive? I had no idea. But yes, it was expensive. All worth it. We love you, Babash.
Yeah.
Barbara and Elmer, huge congratulations. It was a beautiful celebration. We were so happy to be there. So we are still riding off of our vacay vibes and we're feeling good. And why are you here, Sim?
Why am I here?
Yeah, what are you doing here in New York?
I'm turning 40 tomorrow.
See, the lights are also for Cynthia's birthday. We got another wild weekend ahead of us celebrating your fourth chapter. That's a trend now, by the way. We're calling our decades chapters. So since fourth chapter, we're calling in. So we're here to celebrate. And I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
This is actually really cool because I'm going to be starting to do something. You know what? Before I say any of that, welcome to the Love and Meaning Podcast's Friday Night Live Dive. So for those of you that don't know what this is the live portion and interactive portion of my podcast, Love and Meaning. And in this live dive, we dive deep into the topics of the podcast. This week, we'll be focusing mostly on this week's episode, which was episode number 9. I can't believe I'm already
9 already?
I know.
Wow. Since you started 9?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Episode number 9. To give is to receive is to give. And I thought we would focus on that because there's a lot that we can both relate to in this topic. So we're going to have a really beautiful conversation. But I will put it out there that any topic is welcome. So you're welcome to write questions, comments about anything, though that is what we'll be mostly focusing our shared discussion around. And Love and Meaning, the podcast, is basically an ode to the past decade that I've spent doing personal development work. And in that process, I have learned that happiness really comes from love of myself, which then bleeds out to love of the world and love of others. And it's about creating meaning in my life rather than looking for meaning on the outside. And therefore, love and meaning. And since delving into that, I have come to the realization that I really want to spend the rest of my life developing this and also helping to guide others into developing that for themselves. So here we are, Love and Meaning. It's out there. Please check it out. It's available here on my YouTube page, Goddess of Practicality. You can find it on Spotify. You can find it on Apple Podcasts. And I would love to hear your thoughts about it. So the podcast drops every Monday at 8 a.m. EST on the platforms that I just mentioned. And then every Friday at 6 p.m. EST here on my YouTube, Goddess of Practicality YouTube, we go live and we talk about it. So that's where we are today. All right. I think it's time to turn the lights up Let's get into our chat. So I was saying that this is a super cool opportunity to share something that I want to get into, and that is something called bestie-sodes. So bestie-sodes are going to be starting pretty soon. So this is kind of like a good little taste of them, and that will be where I bring on various friends, and we have live discussions on my podcast, and then will be aired as a podcast episode. Bestie, so get it, my besties. I have the beautiful gift of being surrounded with so many amazing people. Like I just have like the most amazing people in my life, and I've learned a lot from them. They've learned a lot from me. We've grown together. I mean, this is 20 plus years, and I'm so blessed to say that, Synth is not by any means the only friend that I've had that long and that rich of a relationship with. So I've grown so much through these relationships, and I would like to bring that to you guys too. So Bestie Sodes will be starting soon, but we have a little taste of that here and now. All right. So again, as people come in, please say hi, share the love, and let us know what you are celebrating this week. And then also at any point in time, drop your questions, drop your comments. We love for this to be interactive. But in the meantime, we're going to dive into the topic ourselves.
Let's do it.
So what are you celebrating this week?
Oh, man. I feel like so many things. But I think probably the main thing, I know it's like my birthday, but I think birthdays are like, it's like a day, right? People like just take the day.
Or a month.
Depending on who you are. But I think I'm celebrating like the last 10 years. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the last 10 years, because they were so special to me. They were like there have been probably the most transformative years of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, like when I was 30, the year I turned 30, it was not a good year. It was not a great year. And things definitely came crashing down when I turned 30.
Yeah.
And it was very heartbreaking. It was very, I felt like my life was over, definitely. But I think now looking back at it, 10, sitting where I am now and looking back at it now, I think that it was probably the best things that ever happened to me, was that those things 10 years ago were the best things that happened to me, because it gave me the life that I thought I could never have, right? But it turned out to be pretty awesome.
I love that.
Yeah.
So it kind of jolted you awake, right?
Yeah, and sometimes I think looking back at it, I needed that jolt, because I don't think I would have had the strength to leave it on my own.
Sorry, guys. I'm just opening this to make sure that I can see all the questions from what happened last week. Anyways.
Yeah. So I don't think I would have had the strength to leave it on my own. And I think the universe did what it needed to do. Yeah, it did what it needed to do. And I'm grateful for it. At the time, I did not think I was not grateful for it. But I think I was very upset.
That's how it always is.
I was very upset.
Yeah.
But now looking back, I was like, okay, I understand. Right. And I think that's part of it. Right. I think birthdays should be that part. It should be instead of you should celebrate, of course, because another trip around the sun is something that we should all celebrate, because it's not guaranteed.
It is not guaranteed.
It's not guaranteed. Doesn't matter how old you are. And I think this year has definitely shown me that, because people around me passing from so many things and being so young. And I think this year has also given me that wake up call in terms of certain things that I needed to change in my own life to kind of, so I can say that I tried. I really tried. If God forbid something happens to me, right? It's not, don't worry, Mom, I'm coming home. But if something happens to me, it's not because it was something that I was doing unto myself.
Yeah.
Right. So I think so that's why I think it's important to celebrate, but I think it's also important to acknowledge, right, everything that kind of brought you to that point.
I love that.
Yeah.
Here, here.
Here.
I feel like that, like,
this is coffee, by the way.
This is water. Cheers. Oh my God, Barbara's definitely there cursing us. You're not supposed to cheers anything but alcohol.
Sorry, that's tomorrow.
Shh. Okay. Yeah, no, I think that's it actually, that's beautiful, first of all.
Yeah.
I love that reflection.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a celebration of this birthday, but really everything that you've been learning and the gifts and the hindsight.
Yeah, and I'm still am learning, and I think I'll do that till my last breath. Yeah. And I think that's why I love what I do so much, is because going into it, I knew that I would never learn everything, because it's a profession where it continuously evolves.
Yeah.
Right.
It is.
And it evolves because you evolve.
Oh, I love that.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, that being said, not everyone.
Yeah.
Because
it can, though.
It can. Not everyone.
Doesn't every passionate profession, don't you feel like when you're passionate, that is what it is, though? It's an evolution of the self.
100%. Like,
I mean, that's exactly how this started. This is where this comes from.
100%. And I think my previous career, and like, I was in finance before I was an RMT. So my previous career, I think, gave me the people skills that I needed to do the job that I do now. Also the business skills, right? But there were other skills that I needed to learn. Like, I think a big one was vulnerability, like, that I think my job taught me a lot about, because people put themselves in a very vulnerable position when they're with me, right? So, and then also, like, I learned so much about people on a different level, right? Because when they're in that spot, they're kind of, telling me all their secrets.
They do. People tend to open up, right?
People tend to open up, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I say, the last 10 years are so transformative, because the years up to that really prepared me for now. And I think that's why everything happened so quickly, right?
Yeah.
Changing jobs, improving my income, all those kind of things, right? Even the opportunities that I got to kind of places where I worked, all those things, right? And it all prepared me for, like, where I am now. Yeah. I really see it that. I mean, I didn't see it before that way, but I see it now.
You see it now.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. I love that. I think this light's a little bit harsh for us, guys. I'm finding it a little bit harsh. It's Friday night. We're supposed to set the vibes. Okay. Well, thank you for that beautiful sharing of your celebrations. Come a little bit closer to me so people see you. Yeah. All right. What am I celebrating? I am celebrating my friendships. You're here with me. And like I said, I have so many rich, deep, long-standing friendships. We just celebrated one of our best friends getting married, and it was an opportunity to see my best friend, and then the four of us. We have a tight-knit group of four of us to get all together, and we don't necessarily have the opportunity to be together all the time for various reasons, not just because I don't live in Toronto anymore, but also because, I mean, even in Toronto, you guys can't always see each other, right?
No, it's hard because, we all have careers. We all have, one of us has kids. We all don't have children yet. One of us has kids. We also all have other relationships that we're nurturing, not just romantic, but platonic.
Yeah.
Our families. Our
jobs.
It gets busy.
It's a lot. It's actually a lot.
It's a lot. And I think that's the thing too. I think that, like, as you get older, that's the thing that I think we don't realize until, like, we're actually put in that position ourselves, right? Like, it's not like, I think we think that, only certain things make somebody busy, right? So only like when you're married and you have kids,
Yeah.
it would be like impossible to
Yeah,
reach,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. We
But
had
it's
this
not.
skewed view.
But it's not that way. Like
It's so not.
It's
There's
like
so many things.
so many things.
Even our personal enrichment, like how much time, just courses that I'm taking, or or when I'm like really in a self-care mode, like sometimes I need to be alone. I just need to spend time with myself, and just not be exposed, not have my energy spread out. Like
like
all takes time.
I'm personally a person where, especially because of my job, because I give I give so much to each person. Like I think my philosophy as a therapist is that like if I can't give all five people that day 100% of myself, it's gonna be a real hard day.
Yeah.
Right. But when I do that, and then I get home, it's just like I really don't want to engage with anybody. It's not because I don't miss you or I don't love you or I don't want to spend time with you. It's because like I actually I'm actually not a good person to be around. Right. And some days they're good days because it's nothing heavy, but then there's some days where people like to dump on you, right? And you just really have to like decompress, right? So it's so many things.
It's true. I have a job that's very similar. And it's really good. So since design is very different than mine, this is human design. You are a manifesting generator. I am a projector. I have a lot of open centers. You have quite a few open centers, but not a lot more definition than me. But either way, we both need time away to clear our centers. Cynthia has something called an emotional authority. So also she experiences emotional waves. And in those emotional waves, sometimes the only thing is space for you, like to yourself, right? It's the only thing that really helps to clear.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too can be challenging with that is like having people that understand that. It's really hard to find people that understand that because they think with you not speaking, right, is that like you're mad or like something's wrong, and I'm like, I'm not mad. Nothing's wrong. I'm just tired.
I'm processing.
I'm processing. Like I'm just tired, right? So like if you're okay, you have to be somebody who's okay with me just being there, like physically being there, and not talking. If you're not okay with that, then we're not going to be okay. That's just a little bit about me.
I mean, I feel like I feel like what you do is light work. I know that what I do is light work. 100%. I think what you do is light work. And I think for all light workers, there's a lot of giving of our own energy. And
so much.
You need to be able to manage that and also take space, and without knowing that, it's so easy for us to burn out, right?
100%.
That's probably one of the huge lessons over the past 10 years.
Yeah, and I think for me, I think I learned to kind of how to balance all that when I'm also a college instructor, so I also teach massage therapy. So I think I really had to learn how to manage that when I became a teacher, because it's not like it's one-on-one, right? It's like it's me and like 10 people, right? And each person is very different. Oh my gosh, so you have to like it's constant like adjusting, adjusting, right? So and I'm not complaining at all, but it's hard. Like it's really hard because sometimes I have a hard time trying to figure out what somebody needs. And when I can't get it, I get frustrated. They get frustrated, right? So
frustration is her not self-theme in human design. So when she's out of alignment, frustration is what she'll experience. Me as a projector, when I'm out of alignment, what I experience is bitterness. Another way you can say is really resentment. I find them their experience.
Yeah, I think you're resentful too, for sure. Resentful. Yeah,
for sure.
Because you're not giving, like you're not like I feel like you're not understanding. So I'm like, I just tend to like
get short.
Yeah, I get really short with you.
But we are evolved beings, and so we know how to bring it back down. Sometimes my husband might disagree. Anyways. So yes, I am celebrating friendship. I feel really, really blessed. And speaking of human design, so my profile is a 4/6, and the 4 part of my profile is really about community. And I am recognizing, like I've been doing a lot of zooming out and recognizing more and more. Actually, this entire Friday Night Live dive came from me zooming out and really recognizing how much community is an aspect of how I thrive, where I thrive. It's like where my juice is, like where the heart is for me. Like it really does something to me. Community has always been something that followed me throughout my entire life. Like I just always have that. And I'm really blessed with some amazing individuals.
Yeah, I think I definitely
go anywhere. I love it.
I feel the same way. I think because I don't come off as like introverted, but I'm very introverted. Like I'm not like my extrovert part of me doesn't come out until I actually get to know you.
Yeah.
And I'm comfortable with you.
Yeah.
And then once I'm that, then you'll see the other side of me, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think having people that are just all the time extroverted has really helped me in the sense of like coming out of my shell.
Yeah.
So
like
I'm very and I know my future person is going to be the same way.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it has to be that way because two introverts do not make.
I mean, sometimes I know some wonderful introvert. I feel like you do need someone like
I need somebody who can be like, okay, we're going out tonight, right?
Yeah.
Because if it was up to me, I'd stay home all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, I also would stay home. I'm one of those extroverts where it's not like what you think. Like I like to stay home a lot too. So I feel like you can go. You might be surprised. It's so many layers, right?
Yeah, but I definitely need somebody who's a little bit.
But you do need someone who's going to be like,
yeah,
let's go.
Yeah, exactly. You know, somebody. But I need someone else who's going to be like, okay, like can be okay, like doing it by themselves.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But like you're a real ride or die dude.
Yeah, like I can rally. I can rally. Yeah, I'm a rally. Like, I can rally.
We have a lot of amazing adventures under our belt. Cynthia is my number one ride or die partner for like a night out. We travel well together. Like, no, real ride or die. We travel very similarly too.
Yeah, because I think it's because of the fact that like if I say, you know, like if we're going to the same spot, let's just say that we're going to like, for example, to make it easier, we're in a market.
Okay.
Right. And there's like one part of the market where you want to see and you want to see the other part of the market. I'm like, okay, so you go and I go.
Yeah.
And you give me a spot to meet and we'll meet you there. Right.
It's true.
Like, we don't have to be.
We both are okay on our own.
Yeah.
And okay together. This is true. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. We're both okay on our own.
Yeah.
And we don't need to be like attached to the
head.
Yeah. But
there's a lot of freedom in it.
There's a lot of freedom. And I've recently learned this about myself where like I don't travel well with people that are like that because it gives me anxiety because it makes me feel like so many things, but it just makes me feel like there's no trust there.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, but I'm not leaving you. I'm not. Yeah. I feel trapped. Yeah. And I'm like, I can't feel that way. And if the minute I feel that way, it's not.
That's interesting. I think that's why also I really like traveling with my husband. He's good like that. But you guys are very similar.
Yeah. But it's important for that because you can't. We all don't experience the same things.
Yeah.
The same, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I feel like having that aspect of like traveling is really important. I'm also a person who I'm the complete opposite of what I am on a daily basis when I travel. Like complete opposite, like daily basis. I'm like,
it's like the structure's loose.
Yeah. Like
it's there, but it's loose rather than very like loose. Appointment. Yeah.
I have no concept of time, right? Like if you don't tell me, I need to be somewhere, then I will not show up.
Yeah.
Like, good luck. You know what I mean? But if you tell me, okay, you can do whatever you want, but I need you to be here at this time, whatever. I'm there. I'm ready to go. But I have no concept of time, and I like that because I don't get to do that all the time.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so today we are going to be talking about, logistics. Love and Meaning podcast currently has, I meant to say this, I currently have a draw going. There is a contest running, and I want to give everyone the opportunity to participate. So before we get into the topic of today, how this draw works is you can listen to the Love and Meaning podcast and leave a review or a rating and review. You can do this on Spotify, and you can do this on Apple Podcasts. The links are in the show notes. So go rate and review. Take a screenshot of your review. Send it, email it to me at Goddess of Practicality, and all of this information is in the show notes. Email it to me at goddessofpracticality@gmail.com, and you will instantly be eligible to receive my human design aura companion, and that will come to you as soon as it's ready. And that's a PDF that teaches you all about your aura and human design. And it will enter you into the final draw for 2 people to receive a full 90-minute human design reading with me. Okay, so more details are also available on my Instagram page, which is Goddess of Practicality, or look at the show notes for the information. But rate, review, take a screenshot, email it to me at goddessofpracticality@gmail.com, and you'll be entered into that draw. And the contest ends when I reach 100 rates and reviews. So check it out. If you love it, let me know and show me some rate, review, love. All right. So for our topic today, we're talking about this week's episode. So it's all about giving and receiving, and how misleading what I learned growing up, that was all about. So I'm going to start by asking you. So what were the messages that you were given? What were you taught about giving and receiving growing up?
Oh man. I don't know that I actually figured that out until I started therapy, right? So been in therapy for the last 8 years. Love my therapist, an angel on earth.
Amazing.
Angel on earth, really. I'm not going to give you his name, but he is amazing, and I'm so grateful that he came into my life. But I don't think I actually realized that until I was in therapy, and I think it was like, because I'm the oldest child of 4, and I'm Latin. It's my ethnicity, and I'm also the oldest daughter. So you really learn to it's all about your family. Like, it's all about your family. You need to show up. You need to do the things. You need to be there all the time, and it's always about everybody else and never about you. Right. And
that's that's considered like you being loving.
Yes, you can be still, and you, like, doing what's right for your family, all this kind of stuff, right? Self-sacrificing, right? And then when you don't, there's like a guilty aspect that's applied to that, right? And it's
selfish.
Yeah, you're not doing the right thing, right? Like, how can you not be there for them? Like, what do you mean you can't? Right? Like, how am I supposed to do this by myself? Right? And then,
like, don't you love us?
Yeah, all those things, right? And so I didn't realize until, like, I was in therapy that's what that was, right? But it was really hard to come out of that. It was very hard to come out of that. But I think there were so many things that needed to change, like, the dynamics with the really certain relationships that I had that were very rooted in that. Right. So it was really, but I thought it was difficult, but the changes really came when I realized I wasn't okay with it. And then, there was definitely a learning curve for everybody applied in those situations. But I think now that's probably the best thing that I could have done for everybody, because now everything's changed. Everything's a lot more balanced, right? People are able to vocalize, like, what they need and why they need it, because sometimes I need to hear that, like, why is it so important to you, right? And then I feel more inclined to be like, okay, like, more, not necessarily give you exactly what you want, but I can make you make a compromise, right? And I think that's what wasn't there before, was any compromise, right?
And either way, it's you're making a choice. It's not something that you have to do.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, and I think, and before I wasn't okay with saying no.
Oh my God, boundaries is a huge part of it. I talked about that.
And I was really, it was, and that's something that you don't do.
You don't do that.
You don't do
it's
that.
So interesting. In so many of our cultures, the people that are considered the greatest, like the examples, it's usually like somebody's mom or a grandma, where it's like, she's so amazing, she's so selfless, she does everything, she never thinks about herself, she does everything for everyone else, and that's considered to be like a compliment. And that person is like often somewhat burnt out.
They're burnt out, but they also have a hard time, giving to themselves.
They aren't giving to themselves.
And I think and I think after the fact, when I learned what I learned about me, I was more inclined to actually speak up for those, not speak up for them, but tell them. It's like, well, why don't you you know what I mean? And I don't think, and then sometimes you catch people off guard when you ask them that question, because it's like they never thought about it because nobody has ever asked them.
Nobody's asked them.
Why don't you, right? And then some people actually give you they'll give you an answer, they'll give you a reason, and that's fair. That's their reason, and they're comfortable with it. They've made their choice. But then there's some people where it's like you can see the light bulb go off and be like, yeah, why don't I do that? Right? And sometimes you need to do that for people. Sometimes
it's a kind thing to do.
It's a kind thing to do.
It's true. Yeah. But also, if you're taught so much that you're supposed to give, you're not supposed to receive, right? Despite the fact that on the inside you're not, there's like a lack of deep inside there's an unhappiness,
Oh, 100%.
There's a deep sadness in there.
Yeah.
But it's your duty to carry, right? And I think that's where it's difficult to release that. It's difficult. That's why you're saying it's so hard to shift it. It's because it's like, I'm supposed to carry that. At the same time, do you find that as you're supposed to carry that, isn't also there's an inner expectation of who's doing it for me?
Oh, 100%, 100%. And I think that, and I was, I was very resentful for a very long time.
That's the key word,
right?
It builds so much resentment.
I was very resentful for a really long time because, I have an underlying story in my story of life, which is or up until now, was that I wasn't everything that I did or anything, or even myself as a person, wasn't enough, right? And that's where it got to the point where I was overgiving, right? And I internalized that as I'm not doing enough, right? And I would just do more, but then I wouldn't understand why me doing it and what I wanted wasn't matching. Right?
Yeah.
And
then it's I'm doing and doing and doing, thinking that if I do this, I'm a good person, right? So I'll be rewarded. No reward coming.
There was never a reward.
This is how I'm supposed to treat other people, and that's how other people are also supposed to treat me. Nobody's treating me that way.
Yeah.
How come nobody's treating me that way? I'm following all the rules. I'm supposed to be giving.
Yeah. And I think in the last 3 years, I think I really that changed because of where one of the clinics that I work in Toronto, the clinic owners that I work for, I don't even know what to call them. They're just amazing people. And I think they taught me that, I think sometimes we think that the way that we think we have to give is by things, or doing things or whatever, right? And I think they taught me that just the appreciation, saying a simple thank you is enough. It doesn't have to be followed with an expensive dinner or an expensive gift or going out of your way, or like filling your schedule, like filling my schedule, like, you know what I mean? All these things. And I think they really taught me that, like, just being actually grateful is enough.
What happened before you're being grateful though? So like you have to, so let's say this person's a very generous person. Did you receive what they had to give?
I had a hard time in the beginning. Okay. Really hard time.
And how would that make them feel if you didn't?
I don't know the exact thing, but I'm also like, I'm really good about feeling people's feelings. Mm-hmm. So I could feel people's emotions, and I could just feel there was an awkwardness.
Yeah.
There was a really awkwardness. Like, what do you mean? Like, you don't want this thing? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like, why? Like,
and this is the thing, like, I think I learned I learned that dynamic of like the giving and the receiving through them was because you actually saw, like, when they would give me anything, actually see the joy in their eyes.
Exactly.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like,
and it makes them feel good.
Yeah, it's like you killed you killed the good feeling part.
Yeah.
By breaking it, by not receiving. You know, but you thought you were being kind, right?
Yeah.
You thought you were being kind by not.
Because
like I think I don't need that's too much.
It's too much, right? But I think but you also, like, you learn, like, when you see the joy in them doing it, it's because they actually, the reason why somebody's offering it is because they actually want to do it for you, right? Mm-hmm. And the funny part with that I didn't realize was that, like, I've always been the type of person, like, when I give a gift, it's because I'm a great gift giver. Mm-hmm. But it's because I truly feel like when you give a gift, it's because you're giving a gift, like, you're giving a gift. Like, I want to need anything back, right? But I didn't realize even like the smallest, like, thank you, right, was like super important. But I don't know that I put the two and two together.
I know, I definitely didn't either.
Never. And then until I met them, I was like, oh, that's what that is, right? Yeah. And now, like, it's like, it's like the littlest things. They could be like, like ordering lunch today. Yeah. What do you want? You know what I mean? And I think too, what happens in that dynamic is that when you truly don't want it, they know.
Yeah.
It's not awkward.
Yeah.
There's no awkwardness anymore.
Yeah. Like, it's just like, I want to give it because you want it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
There's no obligation.
It's
just kindness and kindness. Kindness in the giving, kindness in the receiving.
Exactly. Right. So I feel like, so now, like, if I say, oh, like, if somebody says, oh, do you want a coffee? I'm like, oh, no, I'm okay. Like, but it's really because I really don't want a coffee.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
It's not because I'm uncomfortable with receiving the coffee.
Exactly.
Does that make sense?
No, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
And it makes me think of the dynamics. I'm thinking of, like, my own family and stuff that I saw. Right. And that giving, where it's like, for example, in gifts, I understood, like, in gifts, giving from my heart. I always gave and I always received gifts from my heart, but I had a really hard time receiving in other ways. And what I also noticed with a lot of people, like, this was something I learned growing up, I saw the examples of it, is that giving in the context of overgiving and always having to, they weren't actually giving from their heart. They just thought they had to. Think of all the times and the things that you had to do with your family.
Yeah.
That's where the resentment came from. Was that a true wanting to give, or was that because you felt like you had to?
Yeah.
It's not the same energy, right?
It
feels like
it doesn't feel good.
Taking from, like, literally in your body, I think one actually drains you. Mm-hmm. And that's what leads to burnout, is I think, like, physically that person that's when some energy is taken. Mm-hmm. But when you give fully from your heart and it's received, like, genuinely received, that is life-giving. That gives energy, I think. Mm-hmm. That exchange, like, gives energy. Mm-hmm. And it's a completely different experience. And that mimics what the universe is doing for us.
Yeah, but it also wants to make the other person give more
and
to you. Give genuinely.
Exactly.
Right. Like, if there's not a second thought to it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And whereas, like, when they feel like it, and also too, like I feel like when people feel like they have to, it's not the right gift.
Oh my God, that's such a good point.
Like it's not the right like I personally have not been in situations like
did
that.
you really think about me?
That's the thing. So like I haven't been in
such a good point.
I haven't been in situations like that, but I've been in situations
I've seen
on
it
the outside.
yeah,
seen it.
yeah, me too.
And you can see it in the person's eyes who's receiving the gift, and you can say like, why would you
I
get me
wouldn't even
that?
want that.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that.
That's
right?
so interesting.
So I feel
such a good point.
Yeah, so I feel like even when you're not in the right place of giving,
Yeah,
right, you give the wrong thing, and that also makes things really awkward and not nice. Not nice to feel. Right?
It's true.
Yeah,
it's true. It's actually not for the other person, is it? It's for
not.
You.
It's for you
because you think you have to, in your need to be a good person, to look a certain way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, this is a very good point.
You know?
Absolutely.
And to be honest with you, I think I learned that recently because I got you something for your first wedding anniversary, right? For you and your husband.
She's been telling me for the longest time. I want to know what the heck it is.
You have to wait till your anniversary to get it. But
babe, if you're watching, figure out what it is.
You might get out of me tomorrow night. Anyways, but it's the first gift that I've ever bought where it's monetarily it's not expensive at all. It's not expensive, but what the meaning of it is I actually can't wait to give it to you because I can already feel on how you're going to receive it. So, and it really, in that, when I saw it, I just knew. And I was like, and I really, after when I had bought it, and I bought it, but I had to get it in the mail. And when I got it and I looked at it and I was like, I'm like, I was in awe of that fact that it didn't have to be this elaborate thing, crazy amount of money, what I mean, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh, this is, but it was just, I don't know how to explain it, but that way.
No, I think you're nailing some really, really good points.
Yeah.
It isn't about that.
And it's not about that. And sometimes we think
this is really where caring comes from, is the thought, the heart.
Yeah. And I think, and of course, I mean, it's nice getting expensive things once in a while.
For sure. If that's what you're into.
If that's what you're into, I'm definitely.
It's just not automatically what it is.
No. And I
mean, if somebody bought me right now, how you guys love, oh my God, all my friends love designer purses and all that stuff. It doesn't really do anything for me. There's there's maybe two that I thought wow, those are really beautiful. But in general, it's a little bit wasted on me. You know what I mean? But if you got it, my God, I would feel like that. There's so many other things that you could have done, but in the receiving, I would receive it with grace. But it's not about them, it's not about the amount of money. This is a really good point.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we get caught up in that, and I think
totally,
I'm guilty of that for sure. But I think I finally learned, and sometimes just showing up for people is gift enough.
That's another really, really good point.
Just showing up.
Love languages.
Yeah, there's different love languages, and I think just sometimes just showing up for people is a gift enough, because I think some people don't have that.
You bring up also a good point with the person that you're referring to, that the masculine, right? The masculine, really, learning masculine and feminine energetics taught me so much about giving and receiving, because the masculine loves to give, right? And without knowing how to receive, the receiving is the giving. Do you know what I mean? For the masculine, I had to learn how to receive, because that is how, it brings the masculine joy. Like you were saying, their face was like, okay, it's almost like a refusal of them.
And I've had it's happened a couple of times, but it's just because I haven't been in the right space of mind, and I get when I'm not like that, I'm very standoffish. So it doesn't feel good, right? And sometimes you almost have to like it turns into a thing where you have to like then vocalize why you don't want the thing, but then they're looking at you crazy because like why are you telling me? I don't need to know, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like,
You
it's either
know?
a genuine yes or a
A
no.
gen-
Like, if you're
genuine-
fumbling all over your words, it's probably your own stuff that's going on.
Yeah,
in that
and then they're
moment.
less inclined. They're less inclined to do it
I
after.
love that you said this, because isn't that a perfect representation of the universe? So the whole point of this topic that I talked about in the podcast, the giving and the receiving, is that our human life examples with people is like a perfect representation of how you're giving and receiving from the universe. If you don't know or have balance with people, I promise you don't have balance with the universe.
Oh, yeah.
Because the universe also feels the same way. If anything, we can think of it as the grand masculine. You know what I mean? And it's like, I'm not gonna. You're saying no. You know, it's not. There is no opening to receive. You cannot actually receive something that you don't take. Like, you have, like, the taking part is part of it. Like, it doesn't matter how close to your face it is, you can't take it. And so we sit there, and how many times have you experienced that in your life, being like, I want this, I want this, I want this, why won't it show up, why won't it show up, why won't it show up? But were you truly allowing it? Like, were you truly accepting and receiving?
Oh, no. And I think my career actually was a thing that really showed me that.
Yeah.
Was that because I think once I fully surrendered to the experience of it, right, and not knowing where things were going to land. Like, I had my wants, like certain things that I wanted to do. But I think a lot of it too was like, because people told me I couldn't do it. And that was a big part. That was a motivator. That was a motivator. It was a big driving force. Why I did certain things the way that I did them, right? But I think my career was very much the thing that taught me that, like, because I just kept getting opportunity after opportunity.
And isn't an opportunity a gift? Like,
100%.
And how many opportunities did you turn down before that?
And it's so many. And I think the other thing too is like
saying no to the universe.
And also is like I think when you're in alignment with receiving, you then know that thing is actually the thing for you. Right?
Exactly.
Because to be honest, like I always tell this story, is that like where I am now, where I'm working now, when the opportunity came up, everybody told me not to take it.
I was even skeptical. I didn't say not to take it. Instead, I was just like, I'll just come along.
Yeah. And she did. And everything worked out the way that it did.
It was amazing.
It was amazing.
But that place that you were in, Cynthia, in that time,
yeah,
that you were in the greatest receiving mode at that point. Like, now you're even in a greater receiving mode. Yeah. But that was one of the first times that I fully saw you step into the receiving mode. Because the thing is that with the universe, that receivership, what the universe is sending us, is not just the thing. We often say, like, for example, I want a relationship, or I want this great career, and we think that it just falls in your lap. Or the person.
It felt that way though. It kind of quasi felt that way.
Yes.
Because
some people don't think it shows up as an Instagram message.
Yeah.
What if you didn't respond?
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah.
It's just supposed to appear in my bank account. No, sometimes it's an Instagram message that you say, okay, that sounds interesting. And how many yeses, how many things did you actually open yourself up to before it got there? If you actually think about before that message arrived, right? Because she was offered this very interesting opportunity that was like unheard of. Nobody was doing that. And you can share a little bit about that with them. But even before that, you stepping into a place of saying, for example, I'm not going to do this career how other people have done it.
Yeah.
You said that ahead of time. You had slowly been saying to the universe, saying yeses, receiving from the universe, step by step by step by step by step, and then this thing showed up.
Yeah, and I think the thing too was that, like, what I thought was luxury was not luxury. right? So
Oh my God, yeah.
and
We won't say the
no,
place, but
yeah,
you were working at the highest end.
yeah. And actually a couple of them in
Yeah,
Toronto.
that you could
And
think
I
of in
thought,
Toronto, and it just
and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And for me to get to the level that I am at now, I would have literally have to be working there like 7 days a week.
and you know what you just also made me think of? That sometimes receiving from the universe is a no.
Yeah, and the other
You had to say no to that
Yeah.
to open up to what was to come.
Yeah.
You had to create space.
Yeah, and it was
And that's
really
scary.
it was really weird how everything happened too, because even like the clinic that I was at before I got this opportunity, everything ended up it ended up because of COVID. The clinic that I was at closed because of COVID. And then there was just a feeling, and like everybody else around me was like freaking out because I just moved into my apartment and it was the first time I was living alone, right? I didn't have like the solid financial stability that I have now. So everybody was like trying to scramble, trying to figure out how to help me.
Yeah.
And everybody did like their part, right?
Yeah.
But there was just something inside of me that I knew this wasn't it.
I know.
This wasn't it. I just had to do this thing until the thing came. And then the thing came, and then I was like, everybody else around me was like, are you sure this is too good to be true? And I'm like, I was like, I can't, even if it wasn't the thing,
I was willing to take the risk.
I was really willing to take the risk. And let me tell you, it was the whole situation itself was, because it was COVID was just clearing. I had to fly out of Canada. It was a whole thing. It was a whole story. And
so we might as well tell them a little bit about what you do. So Cynth is one of the few registered massage therapists in Canada who does a very specific type of treatment, if you want to share with them.
Yeah, so
and her Instagram link is in the show notes. Check her out if you're interested. Check her out. She's fucking amazing. And yeah, tell them.
So I practice manual lymphatic drainage. That's where I kind of started.
So that whole thing that's trending right now,
yeah,
that you're seeing all over the place, started.
I was doing it before it was cool. That's what I tell people. I was doing it before it was cool, right? And then when it got cool, everybody was like in awe of it, and I was like, okay, I've been doing this for like a long time. It's just like the only thing that was different to me was the technique, right? Because up until that point, I had the foundational knowledge of like how the lymphatic system works, the physiology, the anatomy, all those kind of things, and the things that affect it.
I remember in school when you were like, I don't know, I'm so interested in lymphatics. And I was like, that's so weird. Why?
And to be honest with you, and the thing that always gets me is that, like, I had so many people tell me that I would, why are you doing it? Like,
it's not the way to make money.
It's not the way to make money.
They said that. Though this is not the way to make money in this career. Well, little did they know.
Yeah.
How many years later? What is your wait list?
I don't know that a wait list, but I mean, I definitely, it's on the hard. Sometimes it can be on the harder side to get an appointment, for sure. Not all the time, but sometimes. But definitely, I mean, when I first started with it, like my wait list was like, I don't know, like 200 people a day, right? And now, I mean, now it's different because once people were seeing what I was doing, everybody wanted to get into it, right? Now I'm still doing it. I'm kind of moving into, this is the other thing too now, is that like, now it's like, people are like, you're moving into this now. I'm like, yeah, why not?
Why not? True classic manifesting generator style, okay? It's like, yeah, I did this novel amazing thing and I'm okay. I'll move on to the next thing. Always needing the unknown, the new, the fresh. Like, you guys are really, really like, you put yourselves out there. And it is so the manifesting generator norm to not do one thing. It's so normal for you guys. Don't feel like you're supposed to. Like, when you're really truly following your nature and this is for nature, like you can't. It feels like you're trapped. So even if it's the coolest shit on the block, because this is
It'll
now
get
the coolest
boring
shit,
after a while.
it gets boring after a while.
But it's not boring how people think boring.
Yeah, it's like you need that challenge.
I need a challenge, and I think and I just knew that it was gonna be like it's something, right? And then it turned out to be the greatest thing. And then I think that even propelled me into like teaching, because it just even like when I took my courses, so I'm certified in multiple ways of doing lymphatic drainage, so not just one specific way. So I think what that in itself taught me, like there's so many different ways of doing it. Why not tell people that, right? So it just kind of, I don't know, just kind of propelled everything to where it is now, right? Yeah. So I love it.
And you just came back from Paris.
I just came back from Paris,
learning a new technique.
Yeah, so
and that should be available soonish, right?
It's probably going to be like end of June, because I was very humbled when I went to Paris, and it hadn't been that way for a really long time, because I haven't had to learn anything.
Yeah.
Right. So I think Paris really brought out something, that passion again in me, right? Of wanting to like, take on something new. Take something new. And I think now it's definitely there's still a lymphatic component to it, but I think it's more geared to the facial muscles, so like toning, lifting the face, right? Like I like to call it natural Botox.
And I get to be a practice dummy. So when I come next week, you guys know what it is.
Yeah. So I think I absolutely love what I do, because it just keeps going. Like there's no end to it. So yeah. Sometimes.
You're so cool. I love it. And I love seeing a Manny Gen and their Manny Gen flavorness, like you guys are just freaking amazing. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot to keep up with us.
It is.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
And sometimes I even feel that inclination, not anymore, but I felt myself feeling that inclination as a person that loves her to be like, can you slow down?
I think a lot of
people take it easy. Can you slow down? But they're not meant to. They're genuinely not meant to. And the thing is you'll know when you're getting to that burnout stage.
And I think that's the thing too. I think a lot of people will say that. Will they're like, oh, like what do you have going on this week? And then
and I'm like, I'm tired just listening to you.
And my schedule, right? But then I'm like, so this is like, and it's still like a little bit of a learning curve for me. And I realized that recently, and I apologize to any of my colleagues that I work with at my clinic, because they're probably they had to deal with me, but I don't know that I've taken on too much until I'm actually in it, right?
Yeah. And I think a lot of manifesting generators can share that same thing. That's part of the learning process.
Yeah,
right?
It's part. So that's still a little bit of the learning process. But like when I'm telling people, I'm like, oh, it's just a regular week. Regular week for me.
It's also a very good lesson of an emotional authority, because remember, you guys are meant to make decisions on a neutral. So when you're on a high, everything's a yes.
Everything's a yes.
Right? She's feeling good. It's like, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I could take that on. Yeah, fill the schedule for sure. Then gets to next week and you're not on a high, you're on a low, and it's like, cancel everything. And you can't.
Really, it's not even.
You can't.
It's not even cancel. You can't do that professionally.
So what you do is you end up. What you end up doing is doing it, but it drains you. It really.
It does. It drains you.
It drains you, and it can be painful.
And the other thing too is that like. I think you taught me this, is that like I change the feeling in the room.
Yes, you emotional authorities, you guys rule the room. Your energy rules the room. So you can walk into a room, and if you're in that really deep stage, like we non-emotional beings, I have an open emotional center. We really feel it and we amplify it. So whatever you're feeling, we feel it times 10.
Yeah.
And you've seen the power that you can have on a
room.
Oh
yeah, 100%. I really try not to do that, but I mean, it's still a learning curve. But
and it's still our learning. So for non-emotional beings, this doesn't mean you don't have emotions, guys. Let me be clear. A non-emotional being in your human design is a person with an undefined emotional center. It doesn't mean fully, like I still have gates and stuff, but like that emotional center, the solar plexus in your chart is white. It's not colored in. Our life's work is to learn to hold steady no matter what we're absorbing, what's around us, right? So my work also, it's not for the entire world to not put their bring only good vibes, like good vibes only. Like this is not a realistic way of living life. It's to be able to hold steady no matter what's around me. And it's also your work to ride those emotions and take full ownership of it.
Yeah, and I feel like I know when I'm like that, I know who's steady around me and who's not.
It's true. You have,
right?
I have seen that.
Yeah, so like there's not many there's not many people in my life that
and
are,
it's tough.
It's tough.
And it's a tough one, right?
It's a tough one, but I feel like that also comes from getting to know me. So I feel like once you know me and then I'm like this, right? Then it makes it I think it's not even like you get to know me, just accept that part about me.
Absolutely.
Once you accept it,
Absolutely.
you're fine.
And I think all
kosher.
friendship is about accepting.
Even like,
that
but not,
person,
yeah.
right?
And I think, and it just sometimes makes it hard in the work environment because they don't have to. I mean, to be honest, not even my friends have to, right? But I think it's more choosing too, right? So so it just makes it a little bit difficult.
Yeah, for sure. I can understand that. So in the place that you are now, right? Doing the inner work, being in a relaxed kind of more relaxed kind of space, and with the kind of releasing the childhood conditioning that you had, how have things shifted for you now when it comes to giving and receiving?
I think I'm more thoughtful, right? Like I'm actually like more thoughtful instead of like wanting to be like accepted or liked.
I felt chills down my spine.
Yeah, like I don't think I care now that like if you like me or accept me, because I mean that also comes from like I accept who I am. I've accepted who I am, all of it, right? And I think that's also like the beauty about turning 40 is that part, is the fact that like you can't, like if somebody says to me like, I mean, for example, like, Cynthia, you're really being a bitch. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Tell me something I don't know. You know what I mean? There's nothing that you can tell me about me that I don't know. Right? Like I fully accepted it. Right?
Yeah.
So I think I've just become a more thoughtful person. Right? Like I actually think about the things that like that I want to give to somebody, right? And then I think even on the receiving end, right, of things, like I'm still working on the receiving end of things, but I think on the receiving end of things, I think I'm just really I'm more aware of how the receiving is like feeling in my body.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think and sometimes and I think when you're more aware of it, at least for me, what it's been like is that like I can feel when it's genuine, and I can feel when you're giving to me from that place, but also if you're not giving for me from that place, like you're wanting something, like you're giving to me for you, or for something that you like, I guess for obligation or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I think so it's really, I think that's really helped me in that sense.
I love that. I feel like you said it perfectly with it really is, because it's on both ends. Like the overgiving comes from, how does it look?
Yeah.
Wanting to be a good person in the eyes of other people, wanting to show, wanting to be accepted, wanting to be like, you see, I love you, I'm good, right? Do you love me? Now you'll love me back, right? And the funny thing is, very often we get the exact opposite of what we desire, and it's the same thing from the universe. Like in that energy, we don't even get the love that we're looking for. And then as soon as it's like, no, I'm gonna genuinely do what feels good to me on both ends, all of a sudden you actually feel safe to other people.
Yeah.
Right? You feel safe to other people because nobody wants to be around that kind of obligation energy.
No.
It's very draining, you know? And
because you're always because then you're always second guessing what you're giving.
You're second guessing and you're second guessing what they're thinking. It's too much work.
It's too much work. And I trust me, I'm an overthinker too. So I don't need that on top of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
No, I love that. I feel like my own shift is very similar. It's that one, in general, like this is very overstating simplicity, but I value receiving just as much as I value giving.
Mm-hmm.
And I no longer see them as separate. They are one and the same. And I know that I'm very aware that I want to constantly be letting the universe know that I am open to receiving at all times. And in order to do that, I need to receive from those around me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also very, very intentional about how I give.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that really does include having boundaries. Right?
Yeah. And I think when you started dating Raw is when you really you started getting better with your boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that was really, that was like, a time in our, in our relationship. It was a time, but I still love your husband very much. But it was a time, but I think it was definitely needed because you were burning out, right? And it got me on the track of like learning what that was about, mm-hmm. right? And I think it also I think what I learned in that too was that consistency doesn't necessarily equal frequency.
Ooh, that's powerful.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think I had that misconception of the fact that like, okay, but like you have like you're my friend, so you have to give me whatever attention that I want all the time, right? Because it's how we keep things going, right? But I think I learned the fact that it was like that. No, not that. It's like it's the quality of whatever it is that we have, right? Mm-hmm. So,
and I guess it's also the same thing in your own giving, right? Because with that mentality, you're gonna also overgive because of frequency.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I think that was like when you kind of learned that part, and I think it was good for it was good for everybody involved. Yeah,
absolutely. That is a really, really good point, because the having of it's so easy for us to say to the universe, "I want it all. I want everything.
Mm-hmm.
I want everything," but you don't know how to hold everything.
And
that's not receiving energy.
No, and I think the other thing too is that like I think at least I'm a true believer that the universe mirrors what like you want in your life, right?
100%.
And I think if I look back at my life, I think all the people who I love and I respect have always taken the first step in terms of like what I want in my life. Right. Mm-hmm. So, and it shows you like the things that like you kind of need to work on. Right. Because if it really does, looking back at it now, it really does make sense that like I wouldn't like now I'm like, oh yeah, I get why you did that, because it's like how can you do it if you don't?
No,
right? You can't do it.
No. So, and if we don't release that mentality, then the universe is going to be like, okay, so you're not ready.
You're not ready.
Okay, so I guess you can't hold it then.
Yeah, you can't hold it.
Yeah. And I remember that stage in my growth when I started.
You were really uncomfortable too with that, because I remember
God, every change was uncomfortable. But
I remember that conversation. Even when you have like you were so nervous to have that conversation with me. And
I don't really get nervous that easily for that kind of stuff. But my friendships are such an enormous part of my life. Like a part of who I am is my friendships. And then I really said to the universe, I'm ready for a real relationship. Mm-hmm. And then I couldn't do things exactly the same way. And it was either tell the universe the message of, okay, I guess I'm not ready, or shift.
Yeah.
And I want to receive all of it. Like I vowed at that stage in my life, that was the stage when I said, I want it all. I vow that I actually want it all. So whatever that takes is whatever it takes. And now I'm learning the whatever it takes when it comes to the business part. There's so many shifts that are happening there. Like, oh my gosh, I'm even less available in some ways, but I feel like at the same time, I'm learning even more richness in my availability.
Yeah. I mean, maybe because both of us have done so much work, but I actually don't feel that.
I think that if there were other relationships would probably feel differently than you, because the thing is that we both connect through inner work. Correct. It's been a huge part. So what about the people in my life that aren't part of that world? Yeah. You know, there are so many shifts, but even that, like the things that like I have the time and energy that I choose to want to talk about, to put my time and energy into, are different.
Yeah, like definitely, like now, like I see what you're saying with that, because now it's like
some people, they feel like, oh, you're not it's like you're not into me anymore, but it's not that. It's really not that. It's just that certain things get a certain priority and certain things have different priorities. It's just a matter of this is the decision I made with the universe, and I am choosing to receive what it is that I want. Everybody has the right to do that, right, in their own way, but things shift.
Yeah, and you have to be, and like you said, right, like you have to be okay with whatever that is. Like we don't, and that's like the other.
A lot of times we're not.
No, but I think that's the other deciding factor too, is that like because we don't know what the other things are, right? We kind of we're like, okay, maybe not.
That's it,
right?
Yeah,
like, maybe not.
And it was like I'm open to whatever comes. I don't know if it's going to be horrible or uncomfortable, but I'm open to it because I've decided this is what I want, and then I figure it out. In the podcast episode, I actually said that, you know, oftentimes receiving from the universe, it doesn't look straightforward. It looks like a no sometimes. It looks like discomfort. It looks like the unknown. It looks like something new, you know, but that is what that taking was. Like, it's an active receiving. It's not the same as a gift. Like, here, I give you this, and then you just take it. It's like, I want this, and it's like, okay, take 10 steps that way. So the receiving is actually an active process. Oftentimes, we don't want to do any of the action part.
That's the thing, right?
We just want to sit and let it fall on us.
And you can't.
And
I've had to learn that, like, because I think at the beginning of this year, like, I think the other part too, personally, has been to me with receiving and giving is like the meaning of it. It's meaning, right? And this year, I learned that because at the beginning of this year, like I was not in a good spot, you know that, and I was really in it, like in my depressions, in it, and it came from the fact that, like, I realized that I got everything I wanted. I got the career, I got the apartment, I got the stability in every area of my life that I ever wanted in.
And then the next biggie was, it's time.
Right? And then the thing is, and then I was like, I realized that it wasn't, I'm like, why was I doing this for? Like, what was the meaning of it? Right? And I really learned that it was just more because, like, you know, people told me I couldn't do it, right? And then I realized that, like, I wanted more for this. Like, it wasn't just for me, right? And it's because I truly want to share it, right? And that was really, like, it was a little bit heartbreaking to me because it became, the things that I thought were so meaningful became meaningless. It was so heartbreaking. It was really heartbreaking. And I had to give meaning back to what I was doing and why I was doing it.
Yeah. Right. You thought it was, at the time, it's so easy to think it's outside of you.
Yeah.
But it's something that you put into it. It's the same thing that, like, you know, like the next, like, relationships, I know, is like the next area that you're really like, okay, I'm going full in on that. And this is where it's really showed up, right? That, like, the receiving part of that is an action.
It's a total action. It's
not,
really hard.
He doesn't just knock on the door.
No, doesn't. I wish. I wish Jason Momoa would just not. Where are you, Jason? Where are you?
Stop. We're just kidding, Jason.
No, we're not.
I think he's in a relationship now. I'm not sure.
He's dating someone.
Oh,
yeah, it was on TMZ.
Okay, she would know.
But any version
my
of that,
God. You're welcome to
yeah, you're welcome
write your number into the
I
comments.
will not be giving my address, but yeah.
No, he can write his number into the comments. And no, but it's like it's an action. Like, how long did it seem like it's just something that it just shows up? It doesn't. Like,
it doesn't.
It actually comes in these little steps where it's like, here's a door, you have to walk through it. And then it seems like in that moment is when you actually realize, oh, maybe this wasn't being held back from me. I haven't actually been willing to walk through the door.
100%. And I think I actually like, I realized that because I realized that like more recently because my therapist put like a hard boundary on what are really like what we talk about and stuff. Mm-hmm. And his boundary was can't talk about dating unless you're actually dating, right? And that was not
good. A good guy.
It was not a good day when he did that. But I later understood why he did it, right? And it made sense, right? So here we are.
I feel like what I have learned from that, like as a final takeaway, is that I actually believe it's very easy to think that giving is an active process, but I actually believe that receiving is an active process.
Yeah, 100%.
You don't just receive, even in appreciation that's like, thanks. No, that's not actually receiving. It's like, sometimes it's not even words, but it's like the look on your face, the body language, that like it's an active process. Like a thank you is a thing that you feel with your entire being, that you put your entire being into, and receiving from the universe all the things, whether it was your amazing career, whether it was the amazing apartment that you live in, whether it's the man that comes, the partner that comes. There is an active process in that receiving. Mm-hmm. And until we're able to fully accept the active process of this dynamic of giving and receiving, we're just playing half-ass. Like, we're not.
Yeah, 100%. And I think what I've realized, and like, I actually have some amazing, my father being one of those people, amazing male figures in my life that have recently been so, I've realized what their purpose in my life, and it's that part, right, to show me what the receiving part of it is, right? Mm-hmm. So, but allowing them to do more of that, and and just, I guess, it's hard. Like, there's some days where it's hard, right? Mm-hmm. Because you're trying to like decide. Like, I have to get rid of like the deciphering part of like whether it's genuine or not. Mm-hmm. That's the overthinker in me, mm-hmm. right?
And also, like, conditioning, insecurity,
so many things, right? But I think what I've learned is I just kind of have to let those. And listen, I always have, everything's going to come out in the wash, right? Everything comes out in the wash. Everything comes out in the wash.
And it comes down to like a thing. I think oh my God, I swear it comes up in every single episode. But at the end of the day, most of our work comes down to the ability to hold ourselves through discomfort.
Yeah, and
I
don't like
whatever happened. And we don't like being uncomfortable. We don't like disappointment.
We don't like disappointment.
But there's a certain risk that's involved, and at the end of the day, you're gonna be okay. Like, this is the key thing. Like, no matter what, I'm gonna be okay.
Exactly, and I think that's the thing that I had to say to myself, was that, listen, if it's genuine, you're gonna find out if it's genuine or not. And if it's not, you just.
Peace. Thank you for the lesson.
Thank you for the lesson. All the best.
Yeah.
You move on, right? So I think that's just how that kind of plays out. Yeah.
I feel like this was like a good wrap up to like tomorrow, stepping into 40. Like, we just covered the evolution, kind of. Mm-hmm. Like, hasn't the almost decade been about giving and receiving, about allowing in your life? Like, It has really
so
been about
much.
releasing, learning boundaries, giving
Yeah.
from the heart, and actually receiving.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like my wish for you stepping into 40 is fully opening the receivership door and walking into receiving from the universe in a big, big way. Stepping into that.
Yeah. I mean, like I had some big goals for this year. And I think, and that's the other thing too, is that like I think the thing that sometimes can't stop me from receiving is that because there's like a little part, it's not as big as I would like it to be yet, but there's a part of me that knows how actually powerful that part of me is.
This is oh my God, you're getting into a whole nother topic that we'll have to cover for another day because girl, I realize, okay, when it comes to my own blocking, that's the biggest thing that I realized.
I block it. 100%.
My biggest blocking was like, it's coming through like it's money. That's my big one. And guys, the episode that's coming on Monday is the most vulnerable I've ever been. Like, oh man, it's a big one. But my blocking was almost like realizing that if I open the door, what's coming? Like, I know that there's everything available to me. And underneath there was this huge fear that I can't handle it.
That's what I fear.
That I know that if I fully allow myself to receive what I'm meant to receive, I'm blocking it because part of me is just like, you can't handle it. You haven't proven that you're capable of managing that. What makes you think you can have all that? And it terrified me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely getting better because now, like, now it's more like I hear the voice of like, what are you fucking waiting for? Like, just do it. Just do it already. And I think the other thing too is that like I also there's a huge gut feeling that I know, like, in which after when I do that, the speed in which it will come
so fast as soon as we open the door. As soon as we actually open the door.
Yeah.
And half the time I have to say, and I've been there myself, a lot of times our complaining or like, why isn't it here yet? Is just the game that we play with ourselves, keeping it away.
No, I'm past the complaining.
Yeah.
It's more now, it's like it's more like it's the knowing. And it's
now you're aware.
Now I'm aware. Yeah. And it's just now I'm just stalling.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm stalling. Yeah.
I think
everybody around me tells me, like, why are you stalling? Stop stalling.
All the time. We're like, if I could push you, I swear to God I would. But I mean, I found it in myself. Like, there were a lot of ways that I found myself stalling. And the first level of it was very much this kind of like almost complaining, like it's being held away from me, but it wasn't being held away from me. That was my way of keeping it away on purpose.
Yeah, I felt that too.
Because I know, for me, the thing came down to this huge level of responsibility with big money, with lots of clients, I'm responsible. Like, so like now they're looking to me like, can I handle it? Can I do? And it really, it's scary.
It's so scary. It's scary. I'm the opposite to you. I feel like
like it's opposite.
It's opposite. Like I'm not.
You stepped into that door. And big time and brought it on. And it's like, and that's the other thing. It's so interesting. Everybody's thing is so unique to them, right? We all think that our thing is like everyone else feels the same way, but it's not. Like I'm there, and my fear was really around, and my conditioning was really around money, right? And I really handled that relationship stuff and took it on full force. Was like, I'm doing this. And it's the opposite. And we all have our own kind of like demons and our own.
Yeah, not everybody's like, but there's, it's different. None of them are worse, but I feel like it's different. And it's the same present wrapped up differently.
Bang on.
Same present wrapped up differently.
And the process is often very similar.
process
you
are
know,
very
but it's
similar.
just different content, but the process
Yeah.
is still very similar.
Yeah.
And it comes down to like, there's a vulnerability there. We have to learn to.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think with me with relationships, it's just that, like, I feel like am I gonna be like a good enough partner?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Am
Yeah.
I gonna be able to like
Yeah.
be the person that you
Yeah.
want me to be?
And it's always the
right?
thing that you desire the most, right? Because you want to be an amazing partner. You want to be,
Yeah,
you want to have the best relationship
be
ever.
the best mom, like all these
You want to be
things.
the best mom. And like, I want it, like this thing that I'm doing here, like my soul. Oh my God, like my desire for what I want to create in the world and what I want to share and what I want my legacy to be. It's so big and it's so dear to my heart that it feels terrifying because I know how big my dream is, you know?
Mhm.
And it's the same way that your dream is really, really big in that way. And it feels like it's such a big dream. Can I handle it? Can I really do it?
Of course you can.
But of course we can.
But the thing is that, like, I feel like even too, like, I feel like the universe also like will tell you that through other people, right?
It always
Like,
shows up
there hasn't. I mean, I'm sure you have so many people that will tell you that it's happening. Like,
it is happening.
You know?
I have the reflection. It doesn't mean it doesn't feel terrifying, right?
Exactly. And I think one for me is like, you know, being a mom. And I think every person that I tell, they're like, that's
You're born that.
There's
You already are.
There's yeah. I mean,
you raised
3 kids. Not really, but yes. But I have, I mean, very nurturing energy. People tell me that all the time. But I think, yeah, I mean, like everybody tells me, they're like, I can't picture you not being that. Is you're just, and you know, and then when people say that, and then I hear the voice of like, it's you, just you.
And
right?
we're doing the freaking work. Right?
We are.
We're doing it.
We're doing it.
Who
knows? Maybe next birthday, I'll be pregnant. Can you imagine?
It would be amazing. A lot can happen in a year.
Fuck yeah.
Right?
A lot can happen in a year.
Oh my God. So much happened in this past year. Woo! Woof, woof, woof. Okay, that's a topic for another day.
So much happened.
Oh my gosh, guys. Thank you so much for being here with us. This was a long one. It has been. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. This is so much fun. I'm so glad.
I wish I could do this every week. But
I know. But we'll do it again. We'll definitely do it again. And we have Bessie Sodes coming for sure. And Cynth will be a frequent flyer for sure. She is my inner work buddy. We do our growth and our life and our love and our fun together. So thank you guys. So again, Love and Meeting podcast drops every Monday, 8 o'clock EST. Here, Goddess of Practicality YouTube, on Spotify and on Apple Podcast. And then every Friday, 6 p.m. EST here on my YouTube, I go live and let's talk about it. Drop your questions for me. If you have any questions from any episode, just drop it on the actual platform. So if you scroll down underneath the episode, you can write your questions in there. You can even voice note your questions to me. And if you can't come live, I will cover the topic for you in the following Friday Night Live dive. And again, you guys can find Cynthia if you're more interested in the services that she provides. Go to her Instagram, cynthia.tightclinic.
Yeah.
Cynthia.tightclinic. The link is in the show notes. And she has plenty of befores and afters, so you can see very, very clearly the special thing that she does. And, you know, go ahead and book a session. I highly recommend it. And I will show you guys my snatched face next week. Or my No.
Well, I might be because I'm still learning.
You're still learning.
I'm still learning it.
But I'm definitely, you're going to do some practicing on me?
Yeah. Let's do it.
I'm so excited. I love you guys. Have a fabulous Memorial Day weekend to all my American watchers. I love you all. Am I forgetting anything that I wanted to say to you? Remember the draw. Remember that there's a draw for 2 people to win a full 90-minute human design reading with me. Details of that you can find in the highlight called Draw on my Goddess of Practicality Instagram page. But basically, just go to any of the platforms where my podcast is, rate, review, take a screenshot of your review and email it to me at goddessofpracticality@gmail.com, and you will be entered into the draw to win a full 90-minute human design reading with me. And I love you.
Love you.
Love you too. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Have a wonderful weekend.